name is Debra Bretton Robinson, and I'm an acrylic painter at Western Avenue Studios in Lowell, Massachusetts. And I also do some collage work, which is paper and glue, but mostly it's acrylics on canvas. For the most part, this is the only place I work, Western Avenue Studios. It's a wonderful place. It has everything you could ever ask for. I've got wonderful lighting. I've got a view of the canal outside my window. I've got wonderful people up and down the hallways that I can talk to. Well, I've always been interested in art ever since I can remember. My mother was the one that encouraged me my whole life. She always told me I was very talented, and I was very skeptical about that because I knew she was my mother. And she wanted to say wonderful things about me all the time. And my mother said, "Would you just apply for art school?" And I said, "Well, if I apply, will you just stop asking me?" And she said yes. And so I applied, and I was so surprised that I decided to go. And it started a whole new life for me. Going to school in Boston at the New England School of Art and Design. And I met my husband to be at the age of 18. And then I transferred to the Massachusetts College of Art, where I got my degree. And I've been, painting professionally ever since. I've been influenced by a lot of different artists over the years. Matisse, Edward Hopper, as you can see with my houses, my villages, my architectural themes. But recently I've been more apt to go with some Canadian artists. They're called the Seven, and they were from around the turn of the century, 19th century. And they wanted to paint native Canadian scenes in a modern way. Even more recent from that, a woman named Emily Carr, which, she's another Canadian artist. She lived on the west coast of Canada, and she was all about trees, painting the forest, and feeling the spirit of the forest in her work. She was amazing. So I'm really inspired by her. I guess I decided when I was 17, and I don't think, looking back on it, I don't think I ever really had a choice. I think it's something that's ingrained in your, hardwired into your brain, and if you have it in you, you can't ignore it. It's something that is always a part of you, and it's always going to be nagging you until you answer the call. It's your calling. I think you try out different things, and through that process you just figure it out, where it feels more comfortable, and acrylics felt the most comfortable to me. The one thing that people notice right away is the colors. They're very vibrant, they're very contrasting, and I always know when a painting is finished when the colors just sort of sing together. They're all in harmony, and they're all working together to complete the composition. I do a lot of architectural themes, and recently I've been doing a lot of forest scenes or river scenes. All summer I've been painting in the field. My husband has a boat, and he fishes a long time, like 4 hours at a time. And I would just sit there and be so bored, and wait for it to be over. But then I said, well, as long as I'm out here, I might as well paint. So I started painting, and he was the one that would have to say, "Come on, it's time to go." And I'm like, "No, wait, I'm not done yet. This can't happen." This is significant for me because we lived in Roslindale for 4 years, and that's where my babies were born, in Boston, and we lived here all together. And I am really into the architecture, New England architecture, cities, and I like to put it in there and not have any people. The people are absent. I mean, there's a suggestion of people because of the cars, and obviously somebody lives in those buildings, but it's a very quiet world. My work is really contemporary. It's very different from a lot of other artists. It's not realistic. It's, you know, bright. It's I use a lot of flat colors and outlines. I outline everything. It just kind of, it's like the mascara on your face. Yeah, it's like the finishing touch. It's the line that says, okay, this is important. This is what I want you to notice most about my work. It's definitely evolved. I started off with a very muted color palette, very grayed, and over the years it's gotten, you know, brighter and brighter, and right at the moment it's very bright. The colors are more vibrant, more excited. We have at Western Avenue Studios, we have open studios once a month, the first Saturday of every month, and it's from 11 to 5, and all the doors are open, and my door is open, so anybody that likes can come in and see the artists, talk to them, buy work or not, you know, just kind of look around and see what the artists are doing. And I'm also the art teacher at the Franco-American School. I teach grades 1 through 8 over there, 2 days a week, and I'm here the rest of the week. And recently I've been working at this wine shop called Tutto Bene, and I give lessons over there to large groups of people. So they, you know, sip wine and eat some cheese and paint a painting. So that's been fun too. Everybody here is so nice. Everybody's helpful and wonderful. They really help me. You know, every time I come in here, I just, I'm like sighing. I'm back. I'm so happy. You know, this whole room makes me happy. The colors make me happy. The light makes me happy. It just helps my whole psyche. But Western Avenue is a great place to be. It's a great community. A lot of people that come in here say that they have to stop in because it makes them very happy to be here. Colors make them very happy. And, you know, I think the kind of person you are, just it shows through in your work, you know. I mean, if I was a really morose person, it would, you know, I would be painting morose paintings. But luckily I'm a very happy person, and a lot of happy things have happened to me. Just the flow of the river with the very active but quiet woods. It's a very serene scene, and you know, I like how water is, how it, you know, bubbles and curls and has all of these colors in them that you wouldn't expect. If you look really close, you'll see all of that together. And I really enjoy giving an impression of what the leaves are doing or what the branches are doing without giving every little single detail. I know I've changed a lot of my students' lives. You know, a lot of them didn't know anything about art, and I have taught them a great deal, and they have gone on to, you know, go into graphic design or you know, the arts, just because of my influence. And you know, sometimes I'll show them my paintings, and they're always influenced. You know, they're very impressed that I'm an actual artist. That, you know, they're privileged to have an artist as their teacher, a working artist. It's very difficult as an artist to get your art out there. You know, you have the internet, which is wonderful, but you know, it's flooded now. It's flooded with images, flooded with artists, and you know, it's such a forest. You gotta, you know, weed through everybody to see your work, and a lot of times nobody will ever see it. So I think you have to have your work on a website. You have to have your work in, you know, Fine Art America, or you know, all these other websites, so that The more exposure you have, the more chances you have of getting seen. And then you have to promote your work, at open studios and newsletters. I'm constantly sending out newsletters. And you also have to make calls. You have to, get out there and say, what's your submission policy, to galleries, and you have to do the legwork. I can maybe count on one hand the number of people that I went to school with that are still making art, still doing what they said they wanted to do. And they all just, drop off one by one, and I look around and I'm the last one standing. And, I realize that I'm very lucky. If you go into the center of Essex, which is in Cape Ann, there's a marsh and a river, the Essex River, and it sort of flows through town. And I love the New England architecture, of course, but this one was interesting to me because it had a lot of reeds, and I did a sketch that I liked, and the reeds were moving in the wind. And so you have sort of some nature, some architecture, some human activity, again without the complete and total presence of humans. Just keep going. That's all you have to do. Just stay on your course, and no matter what, Stay focused. Yes, stay focused. Exactly. One day I hope to get into some really prestigious galleries. And my long-term goal is to support my husband when we're in our old age off of off of all my paintings, and hopefully I can do that when I'm older and just live off of that. It would be wonderful. I would really enjoy that.
My name is Kowalik, and I do large abstract aerial landscapes based on places I have lived. And I do this series of work because I've lived so many places throughout the world. I have several jobs. I work on my art here in my studio at Western Avenue Studios in Lowell. I also have part-time work at a church where I'm an administrative assistant. And I also do work at the Worcester House Museum of Art, which is here in Lowell. When it hit me that I wanted to become an artist was when I saw a show in Peru of Spanish artists, including works by like Tapias and Chillida and Moreau, and all Spanish contemporary artists. And I saw a sculpture there by Eduardo Chillida. I was just awestruck. It was the first time it's ever happened to me where by viewing the artwork, I was literally transported to somewhere else. And I thought to myself, if I could just once do the same thing to someone else, that would be worthwhile. That would be a life worth living. Eduardo Chillida, his sculpture definitely first really inspired me to become an artist professionally, try and pursue it professionally. In my work, I'm very inspired. I really, really love contemporary Australian Aboriginal artists. You might be familiar with their dot paintings, Western dot paintings. Their use of color and just motion and just exuberance of life is just incredible. By the time you're 16, you're already being pushed into thinking, where do you want to go to college? What do you want to do for a career? And so I decided right then and there I want to become an artist. And but it took me a long time to go to art school. I didn't go right after high school. I took 6 years off in between high school and college. And then I couldn't take working dead-end jobs in hotels anymore. And so I decided it was time to go back to school. So then I decided to go to art school as an adult. And I went to Maine College of Art in Portland, Maine, and majored in painting, and just graduated a little over 2 years ago. My family's been very supportive of me. My mom has always been she'll be the first to say she's not an artist, but that she's crafty, in the sense that she always made our own Halloween costumes, and she would do all these elaborate themed birthday parties for us. My dad is unbelievably supportive, but and very appreciative of the arts, but he would say he doesn't understand art. I chose first off to work with oil paints because I find that they have richer colors than other paints, and so I love that. I love color, and I like to use metallic paints, metallic leaf, copper leaf, aluminum leaf, imitation gold leaf, and just about anything. For my dad's job as a geologist, looking for precious metals around the world, and also because it's shiny and I like it, I'll admit it. What makes it unique is that it's my story. The paintings are my story. They're my life story. And so no one else can claim that. And there's definitely other people that do matte paintings, or definitely other people that do aerial landscapes, but I bring to it my story, and so that makes them unique. I bring my life experiences of moving around into my artwork, and the cultural influences I've experienced. One of the biggest changes was that when I first started seriously considering pursuing art as a career, I was mainly a photographer. I black and white photography, working in a darkroom. I'm a bit of a Luddite. I don't use digital camera. I don't even own a digital camera, but I still take black and white photographs and try and develop them on my spare time. In college, I just became more and more attracted to painting, and I never would have guessed I would end up doing what are basically abstract paintings, because I never had done abstract work before I started college. So that's been a big change. Go from black and white photography to abstract paintings. I started a series of paintings based on all the places that I've lived, which is upwards of 16 places now around the world. And this painting is the very first place I lived. It's where I lived when I was born. And so it is in Orrington, Maine. And since I don't have any, I was only there for about less than a year, I have no memories of the place, because how many newborns have memories? And so I chose the colors to reflect that, in that there would just be bright colors, and just, I wanted it to be almost overwhelming, just lots of colors all jumbled together. Well, there's a couple ways I try and contribute to the artistic community here in Lowell. First off, I have a studio here at Western Army Studios, and so we have open studios for Saturday of every month, and I'm always here. I always, it's part of my routine that no matter what else is going on in my life, for Saturday every month, I am here, my door open to the public, to make sure that people can come in. And I also recently won a competition to do a mural on the outside wall of 119 Gallery here in Lowell. And so I've never done a mural before, so this is a big learning experience. But it might be something I'm trying to do more of in the future. I love my studio here at Western Avenue Studios. The community here is really great, and I've made just really great friends and colleagues, and because there's so many artists in the building, they're just a great resource to tap into. If, like when I was starting the mural, I never done a mural before, so I reached out to people to see, what should I know? The only thing I don't like about it is that there's no air conditioning, and it can get pretty hot here, and especially on the 4th floor. So it can be, well, frankly, it can be impossible to work here a lot of times in the summer. And since I am a painter, it would be nice if I had my own area to clean up in my studio, my own sink area. But there is a sink area down the hall, but It'd be nice to have it in my studio. But other than that, it's pretty good. My first thought was of my dad, because of my art, I think he's gotten to know me better than he did otherwise. It's taken a while, because at first when I would show him what I was doing in college, he would say, okay, that's nice. I don't get it, but it's nice. He appreciates maps too. It's been a great way to connect with my dad. I find so much of, like, when the public is looking at my work and I'm talking to them, and I think that it's a good conversation starter. Like, when people's looking at my artwork, and then it brings up ideas. Painting of Englewood, Colorado, where I lived in middle school. And I used to ride my bike a lot there. And so when it came time to do this particular painting, I knew I needed hills, because anytime you ride a bike somewhere, you're so much more aware of the hills. And then in this path here, so this is very loosely the path that I took to get from home to school, and embedded in the path in a few areas you can see the bike trail marks in gold leaf, imitation gold leaf. And a lot of people wonder how I made this, and some people have even guessed that it was ceramic, which it's not. It's actually paper mache on top of chicken wire. I would say that probably one of the biggest challenges as a professional artist is just getting people to see my work, getting people to take the time to stop and see my work. I'm not saying if they see it that they'll definitely buy it. I've gotten into the habit, I tell everyone that I meet that I'm an artist and that I have a studio and that we have open studios, and try and get people to come here all the time. And sometimes I succeed, but sometimes I have to push a little, not push, but remind people a few times. One of the hardest things about being a professional artist is trying to find the time to actually do artwork. Because there's, never mind day job and all, and family and all that, there's just so much involved with being a professional artist that doesn't have anything to do with art. Like marketing, updating my website, all that stuff. It takes time. Or finding shows to apply to and putting together application packets and all that. It all takes time. So the time I can actually paint, that's great. Not only am I an ambassador for my art, I really feel like I'm a little ambassador for Lowell. I'm constantly trying to get people to come to Lowell and telling them how great it is and how many opportunities there are. And one thing that I say to a lot of people is that Lowell is up and coming. It just hasn't come yet, but it's on its way. This painting, it's a bit of a departure. It's definitely more abstract than the other ones. But it's of Lima, Peru, where I lived in high school. And it's basically one map on top of another map. So it's two maps plus the eyeball shapes. And the orange, what I call my angry orange line, is a stretch of road where when I was 15, a man followed me on the street and grabbed me. So it reflects a traumatic experience. And but at first I found it really painful to do this painting. And I kept telling myself, should I really be doing this? Maybe I should just stop, come up with something else. But I pushed through and did it, and now I find it a lot easier to talk about the experience, and I don't flash back emotionally to that 15-year-old girl. So it was extremely cathartic. There are a couple of things I would like to say to aspiring artists. First off, that it's really important to believe in yourself. It can be easy to let, not just critics, but just people even close to you in your life to convince you that you're not worth it or that you're not talented. And you just have to keep trying, keep keep working. That's the other thing. Keep working. Keep doing art. I understand sometimes you need time off, and God knows I am not someone who can come in religiously, 3 hours a day, every day, work on my art, but every week I do come into my studio. So you have to work. Make sure to build up a community around you. Maybe just a handful of friends and family members, but I like to think that just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to to have a successful artist. You really need that support system in place to help you to get feedback, just to help you out in any way possible. My future plans, I would say, involve me staying in Lowell for at least another year, maybe 2 years. After that, well, I do move around a lot, and I don't see that changing. So there's absolutely nothing against Lowell. I don't know. I like to move different places, and I haven't lived overseas in a long time, so I'd like to live overseas again. So I'm considering, I would really love to go to grad school in Edinburgh. So that would be what I would love to do, is to go to grad school in Edinburgh for painting. So, yeah.